probably one of the most emotional moments at the Venice Film Festival this year, Priscilla Presley.
It's difficult, very difficult to sit and watch a film about you and about your life and about your love. And sorry. I think Sofia did an amazing job. She did her homework. We spoke a couple of times, and I really put everything out for her that I could. The ending, excuse me, for the gentleman who actually was a little bit, not a little bit, but before you, you talked about, it was very difficult for my parents to, thank you, very difficult for my parents to understand that Elvis would be so interested in me and why. And I really do think, because I was more of a listener, Elvis would pour his heart out to me in every way in Germany, his fears, his hopes, the loss of his mother, which he never, ever got over. And I was the person who really, really sat there to listen and to comfort him. That was really our connection. Even though I was 14, I was actually a little bit older in life, not in numbers. And that was the attraction. And, people think, oh, it was sex, it was this. Not at all. I never had sex with him. He was very kind, very soft, very loving, but he also respected the fact I was only 14 years old. We were more in mind and thought. And that was our relationship. Yes, he called me when things weren't, when he came back to the States. That was also part of our relationship, telling me all his woes and on what was happening and how upset he was on the screen with the director. And I don't know why he put so much trust in me, but he did. And I never, ever, ever told anyone that I was seeing him. And that was another issue that he loved, is the fact that I never gave him up in any way. I never told anyone at school that I was seeing him. So we built a relationship, and that relationship went on until, yes, I left. And it wasn't because I didn't love him. He was the love of my life. It was the lifestyle that was so difficult for me. And I think any woman can relate to that. But it didn't mar our relationship. We still remain very, very close. And of course, we had our daughter. And I made sure that, he saw her all the time. And it was like we never left each other. So I want to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sofia Coppola premiered Priscilla to Venice Film Festival with her cast and the lady herself, as you just saw, Priscilla Presley, united there together ahead of the release in October. I'm Max, this is Flip Your Wig. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss a video. We've got so much more from Sofia, also from the cast of this brand new movie. We've had Elvis, thanks to Baz Luhrmann and Austin Butler's incredible adaptation of The King, which has won him countless accolades. Sofia based this film on Priscilla's own words from her 1985 memoir, Elvis and Me. Plus, they had personal conversations with her, determined to respect Priscilla's story for the big screen. Sofia cast relatively new fresh faces, Cailee Spaeny to play Priscilla, while Jacob Elordi played Elvis.
I really wanted one actress to play Priscilla, and she had to play from 14 to 29. And my great casting advisor, Fred Roos, and Brighton Daniels were such fans of Cailee's and said, you have to meet Cailee Spaeny. And then Kirsten Dunst had just worked with Cailee and told me how talented she thought she was. So we had a coffee, and Cailee has this baby face. You can believe that she can pass for 15. And she's just so thoughtful. And I knew that she would approach this with sensitivity. And so I was so happy to jump into this with her. And she really took a lot of care in preparing and working with Priscilla. And then the idea of Elvis is so daunting. Nobody looks like Elvis. He's such a big character, and it was really important to me to not have a caricature that who could have the essence. And when I met Jacob, I felt like he has that just the charisma and the feeling that I could feel that he could pull this off and be a teen heartthrob. And no, but that had the sensitivity to show this other side of him. We weren't doing the performer, the outward. I knew he was vulnerable and sensitive from the way Priscilla described him. So it was important that I knew that Jacob could have that essence and show that side of him more in his vulnerable personal life. And then we just jumped in and it was challenging to especially to watch Cailee have to change ages. We were shooting out of order and to span so much time, and it was really impressive to see them and really they're really there for me.
It's important to see all those milestones that I think all of us women can relate to, from her being a young girl to finding her voice and her autonomy, and I think Sofia did that really well.
I think the most impressive thing to me about the story is the scale of this love and the power of this love, and the fact that to this day, even though he's not here, when you see Priscilla, when you talk to her, you can still feel the love. It's true and it's undying, and that to me is just beautiful. So I think when he says another time, maybe another place, I absolutely believe in that. I don't think it has to be physically in front of you. I think it's this tether that ties two people together, and I think that's for eternity.
It's an independent film made by A24, which meant that Cailee and Jacob were granted a SAG-AFTRA waiver to promote the film amid the strikes. For those of you that are wondering, how is it possible that they were able to do this red carpet and this press conference? This Elvis is very different to the recent portrayal by Austin Butler. You get to see a darker side to Elvis. You get to see his addiction, sleeping pills that he takes all of the time, his control over Priscilla, what she can do, what she can wear, his frustrations, his anger, all this while he's cheating on her. The irony, hey? I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Elvis fans react to this, because people love to glorify their heroes and not see the other side of them. I think Baz Luhrmann's version did kind of hint a little bit on the addictions later in life that Elvis had, but mostly it was a celebration of his work and his music. So did Jacob, who plays Elvis, and a lot of people love for Euphoria, he had such a big reaction on that carpet. It was Jacob, 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 Jacob. People were going nuts for him. Did he take any sort of inspiration from the way Austin Butler portrayed the king of rock and roll?
No, I was really, really lucky to be working with Sofia, who kind of put my fears at ease immediately. There's no real space to be daunted or afraid. It's one of those things you hear, I think, from actors all the time, that you want a challenge, and this certainly was it.
When I read Priscilla's story, I was so struck with how the setting is so unusual, but she goes through all of the things that all girls go through growing up into womanhood, and she talks with detail and openness about her experience and her first kiss and becoming a mother and all these moments in one's life that I could relate to and I thought were universal, but in this very unusual setting that we're so curious to know. She's Elvis and Priscilla are this legendary couple, but we don't know that much about her and her point of view. I can go back to being that age and remembering a crush on an older guy and a rock star, and so I just imagined myself really in her story, and I really tried to make the film from her point of view so that you could go along in the journey with her and experience her story along with her. And that's what I love about films, is being able to experience someone else's story that's so different from your own.
It was very daunting, but I got very lucky to have some time with Priscilla, and she was very generous with her time, and she was very kind to me and supportive. And I think if I didn't have that, I would have had a much harder time. But that was my main source, and obviously the book, but I got really lucky that the person I was playing was also very supportive.
The film focuses on Priscilla as a teen who meets Elvis, falls in love with him, and then you see her grow up into a young woman and everything she has to go through, the different places she goes, from Germany all the way down to Graceland. It's colourful, it's beautiful, it's vibrant, because Sofia is very good at doing that. She's a director that really cares about those little details.
Just being able to speak to Priscilla was added so much to this experience of making the film, and just details that she would tell me, which I love, the details that make you feel like you're there. And she described the scene when they're in the movie theater in Germany, and Elvis was saying the lines along. And that wasn't in the book, it was something that she told me, and I thought, I love that moment where you see that they were really sharing something and he was revealing something, and also knowing that he wanted to be a serious actor, and that was a great dream, and to understand his frustrations with his career. So talking to Priscilla added so much, I think, and helped me so much.
The film showcases Priscilla's life and relationship with a king of rock and roll, and I'm so intrigued to watch this fully. The reviews have been great so far. It's also going to be showing at London Film Festival in October, so I can't wait to watch it and let you know what I think. And then it's released in cinemas October the 27th from A24. So let me know what your thoughts are. Are you glad that Priscilla has taken this opportunity to work with someone like Sofia Coppola and tell her story, or do you think Elvis fans are going to go a little bit crazy? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll be back soon with more videos. Have a great day.
I think the whole kind of the prospect of facing it was just this kind of huge mountain, and it really was just, you know, put the blinders on and just go all out.
I was so nervous to show her the film for the first time, and we watched it, and she said, "That was my life. You did your homework," and I was relieved, because it was very important to me that she be happy with it, while at the same time I'm trying to imagine the story in my head. So that was a challenge for me, and really important to me that she felt her story was respected.
Priscilla, what about boys at school? Must be some handsome ones.